the president talking about immigration in his speech. And he asks a question. He says, why are we getting so many immigrants? Rob, you know which clip I'm talking about? The one where he says, let's get some immigrants coming here from Sweden, okay? Let's get some immigrants coming from Eastern Europe.
Yeah, I agree.
Why are we getting some, folks that are coming here from, I'll just let him tell you for you. Here's the president. Go for it.
I've also announced a permanent pause on third world migration, including from hellholes like Afghanistan, Haiti, Somalia, and many other countries. I didn't say shithole, you did. Remember I said that to the senators they came in? The Democrats. They wanted to be bipartisan. So they came in and they said, this is totally off the record. Nothing mentioned here. We want to be honest because our country was going to hell. And we had a meeting. And I say, why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few. From Denmark, do you mind sending us a few people? Send us some nice people, do you mind? But we always take people from Somalia, places that are a disaster, right? Filthy, dirty, disgusting, ridden with crime. The only thing they're good at is going after ships. But they don't go after our ships. You know why? Because that same missile that knocks the crap out of them, that with the drug dealers from Venezuela and others.
I like the guy in the back. Persians for Trump. Gotta love it. So what do you think about what he's saying here? Why are we getting folks from Somalia, Afghanistan, what we're not getting from Norway?
Sweden and those countries, it's from the womb to the tomb. They take care of you. I mean, they don't have a lot of the problems that the people that are from Memphis, Tennessee, or Chicago, Illinois, because from the time you're born, you're part of the system, and you stay the part of the system till they bury you. And they always nobody's starving to death.
So why would they leave? Why would they come here? They don't want to come here. They like their homeland.
Exactly.
And by the way, I think that's what the lady screamed in the background, right? Because she said it's because they love where they're at. I think that's what she said in the background. Tom, what do you think about the speech here on what he's saying about shutting down from certain countries and then the comments about why we're not getting people from certain countries?
Well, if you like your homeland, you can keep your homeland. I'm going to make sure of it. It's sort of things that we saw in Southern California, where we saw Mexican people who had immigrated legally that were in some of those northern states where the cartels were such a horrible influence. And so they literally want to leave a country that is horrible. And they would come to the United States legally. And we used to see in Southern California those people saying, I came here for opportunity, I came here legally, and every time I turn around, people think I'm here illegally, and but they wanted to come here. The guy yesterday, the Vietnamese guy that was in the car, demonstrating that not only did he learn to speak in English, boy, he learned how to swear really well in English, is he was pointing out that he came here from Vietnam and he learned the language and they built a business. And sure, he lived in a neighborhood with other people from Vietnam, but he came here to be an American, to live in America, because what he was leaving is a country that had a lot of problems. And this is the statement that is on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty, right on it. Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse from your teeming shores. I memorized that when I was in school because the message was, hey, we've got something better for you if you want to come here legally. But when the Democrats turn us into refugee central, that's where all of America draws the line and says, wait a minute, these aren't families and good people wanting to come for opportunity. You're just opening up the doors and we are going to become the city dump for all the people that are coming over here. And there are bad apples in that lot. And that's where it begins and ends for me. And I'll defend those Mexican people in LA who would have people say things to them. And I'd say, hey, dude, that family came here legally. Do you know their story? Get off their back. You're perceiving, oh, are you Mexican? Hey, when did you walk across? No. There are good people that came. There was also a lot of bad people that just came across when the Dems opened the doors to refugee status. And it's the refugees we don't want. It's the honest people that want to come here for opportunity that we welcome.
Adam.
Well, to me, it's a culture issue. So not all immigrants are exactly the same. Listen, we're all children of immigrants. We're all moved here from somewhere. Your family came from Iran. I know you live in Scotland now, right?
Yeah, but my family's from Mexico.
Your family's Mexican. Brandon, you're Italian of some capacity. Tom is Canadian, European. My family's Russian, Ashkenazi Jewish. But not all immigrants are the same. The biggest issue is not so much, he named a couple countries. For instance, he said Afghanistan. There's a culture issue between Afghanistan and the United States. I'm sorry. Major culture issue in Somalia. Difference is you have Cuba, you have Haiti. I grew up in Miami. Half my friends are Cuban, Haitian, Jamaican, Venezuelan. There isn't a massive cultural difference. There's still the same framework of religion, culture, family, society, values. Not that people from that side of the world in the Middle East don't have the same culture, but let's be real here. If your country runs on Sharia law, it's not going to work in America. If you're in Cuban, the biggest issue I have with my Cuban friends in Miami, I've said this before, there are people who've been here 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Habla no inglés. You're telling me you've been here 30 years. You speak zero English. Pedro, tú necesitas aprender inglés. But if you just want to be broke and Cuban or Haitian and never learn English in Miami, you can do that. But we don't worry about these people. They're working, they're doing whatever. They're not trying to dismantle America like a lot of the Islamist culture that comes into America.
Yeah, you
speak English.
How often do you go to UK? How familiar with what's going on in UK?
Well,
right
I live there.
Scotland.
Yeah.
So you're there, is it like 9 months out of the year, 10 months out of the year?
I travel 3.5 months, and I'm there the rest of the time.
Okay. So what have you noticed happened there with specifically, because I just saw something that said you've lived in Scotland since 84, right?
Correct.
Or 84 when you bought I think the castle that you have in Scotland.
Correct.
Yes. What have you noticed happen to UK, London, from 84 till today?
Well, let's go back to the 70s. And first, the Russian money, 70s and 80s, the Russian money propped up property prices, triple, quadruple. Mayfair, what most people don't know is property prices in Mayfair have gone down 21 of the last 25 quarters. Nobody puts it in the newspaper because it'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Mm-hmm. After the Russians, then came the Saudis. The Saudis, they would buy a Mercedes, and if it ran out of gas, they left it on the road. They go buy another Mercedes. Okay, and so they propped up prices. The same in Beverly Hills, California, as is my estates. The guys that are around me that have been there 700, 800, 900 years. Their properties, some of them cashed out and retired. They never, even though the property's been in their family 500 years. When a Russian or an oligarch comes in, offers you 10, 20, 40 times what it's worth, fine. You want the furniture, the napkins, the pictures?
Take it. I'll leave my wife here if you want.
Yeah, exactly. So I've seen that.
She's in a small car.
I've seen that. And I've also seen that the liberalization, now we have about 2/3 of the police that we used to have, we have now.
2/3 of the police you used to have.
We used to have
Less police, you mean?
A third less.
A third less.
Yeah.
A third less.
Okay.
And the cops there, if you watch, they make fun of them sometimes. They go viral. 4 or 5 cops trying to arrest 2 immigrants. Okay, and you can't hit them. You can't do this. You can't do that. You go to Germany. You go to France. Boom, boom, boom. It's the old.
Not in UK.
No, not in the UK. You have to really do something awful. And in Parliament, which is archaic. I'm a UK citizen and a US citizen. Parliament should have been done away with 200-300 years ago. It's an old system, but they like the pomp and circumstance. But that's a reason for 30% of the people that visit the UK is for that pomp and circumstance. The changing of the guards, under the old Queen and now the current King. It's deteriorated. Before the 50 to 75 billion pounds a year that it used to cost to support the royal family wasn't even thought about. Now the budget is down to around 20 million pounds, which is still a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But if you go to Buckingham Palace, last time Sally and I were there, not being braggadocious, it looks worn out. I mean, it's like, when you see a carpet that's been walked down 40 million times, that's what it looks like, okay?
At Buckingham Palace.
Buckingham Palace, correct. And the king doesn't want to live there. He lives in another house down the street, which we would consider a palace, but it's not a palace to them. The only thing that they keep new are cars, because Rolls gives them the cars. They're not buying those cars.
Makes sense.
Okay, and so I've seen a deterioration. But our daughter was born there. Our 2 sons started their education there. And when I went there in '81 and I bought in '84, for somebody that was, for me, it was like Pandora's box. A young, aggressive guy. I just made hay while the sun shined. And now it's less that way, but it's still it's a foothold for Europe. And when I first went there, the wall had already come down. But remembering back, when I was a young Army officer, they had an Iron Curtain, okay? And East Germany, who got liberated supposedly, and West Germany merged with them. But Europe's a different place. But there's 2 different lifestyles. If you're in Spain, Portugal, Italy, as opposed to the countries that we talked about that they take care of you from the womb to the tomb, it's like Mars and Venus, okay? And the UK is kind of in the middle. But it's a great place to visit. I'm there. It's the only house I have anymore. Not exactly a house, but it's the only place that we have anymore. And it's absolutely terrific. But the business opportunities today, vis-a-vis Trump, and one of the reasons I'm still working, came out of retirement, is Trump is good for my business. Trump is good for business.
Period.
They sneeze in New York and they catch a cold in England 3 years later. Okay, and so he's good for the economy. We all know that everything he does, he has a propensity, like I do, of having his hummingbird alligator mouth overloading his hummingbird ass.
What does that mean exactly?
Pardon?
Alligator mouth?
The alligator mouth overloads his hummingbird ass.
What does that mean?
That means he sticks his foot in his mouth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We all do it from time to time.
Yeah, well, I know.
He does it at a whole different
Well,
level.
can I? Great point. Can I just say one thing back to this in the story? By the way, it comes down to leadership. Trump's saying things that are shocking, inappropriate, offensive, but are they wrong? I would argue that he's saying exactly what needs to be said. If leaders in Europe started speaking like this 5, 10, 15 years ago, would Europe have this problem? I think not. The biggest problem with Europe, all their leaders are weak, feminine men. The leader with the biggest, toughest, strongest balls in Europe is a woman named Giorgia Meloni. You know, digest that for a second.
They rather
So
be liked
Trump-
than effective.
Exactly. Trump is saying the quiet part out loud that everybody's thinking. Hey, do we really want these Somalians here? Do we really want this gays for Gaza protest
Do you
here?
still go to dinner in London? Do you still go to restaurants in London?
Yeah.
You do? Do you feel safe like you did 40 years ago?
Well, 40 years ago, the IRA were blowing restaurants up. They used to have sandbags. If you were a new customer, they put you at the front door where the bombs went off. If you were an old customer, they put you in the back of the restaurant. So I've seen that transition. But for the most part, yeah, I still feel safe. Sally and I were in Dublin not too long ago, and we were in Northern Ireland not too long ago. You know, they attacked the bus still. You know, I was on a tour giving speeches, and you know, people and these little old people from Iowa sitting there, and I felt sorry for them. You know, my age, but I mean, they were peeing their pants because these people were rushing the buses and throwing themselves in front of the buses, and I kept yelling, "Run them over! Run them over!" Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Brandon.
So I'll tell you whose fault this is exactly. It's LBJ's fault. So nobody talks about this, but the civil rights bill, like there's all these little time bombs that are hidden throughout like bills and policies in U.S. history. So they changed the quotas for immigrants that the U.S. would take in the civil rights bill. Before 65, it was 85% people from Europe. After that, they flipped it, and it was 85% people outside of Europe that were allowed to immigrate to the United States. So that drastically shifted the types of immigrants we got, and that's where it all changed. That's why it's different. Same thing happened in Europe. Like,
And he sold it to the Americans as the Great Society.
And it actually changed before that. After the Civil War, who was against having the slaves freed? The Democrats. Mm-hmm. You know, 82 Republican senators or whatever, 3 of which were black. And so whenever I see, and I lived in the South for a while, and whenever you hear back when they had black and white bathrooms, you hear them screaming about civil rights. but they were no friend of civil rights from the very beginning, and it was the Republicans. But now they've flipped that. They flipped that somehow, as they've flipped a lot of things. But unfortunately, I mean, there are places in the Democrats. They get they were talking about gerrymandering, switching the around. They did it under Lyndon Johnson, and they've been doing it ever since. The fact that I say we, the Republicans, because I'm a registered Republican, but there's parts of the South you don't tell people you're a registered Republican. You just don't. I keep thinking of my next door neighbor in Rolling Hills in Palos Verdes. She was the daughter of the Shah's doctor. Shah, okay? And you know what Shah I'm talking about, okay?
Of course.
And they always talk, they came with a T-shirt on their back, and and to live up there, you had to have a lot more than a T-shirt on their back. And then her brother came to visit one day, and how they were talking about the people that trained cars full of money and gold and antiques, and of course, the Shah's doctor left a year before the shit hit the fan.
Wow, 77, 78?
Yeah, and so she must be 75 now, because the Shah would be 100 and something. Yeah.
He would be in his late 90s or early hundreds, something like that. Yeah, very, very interesting when you're going through this to see what's taking place. Let me get to the next story here. Next story I want to go to is with what's going on with Time Warner. Who's going to buy these guys? Right? Netflix offers 72. Then you get, by the way, that's a beautiful castle. Whose house is that, Rob? Did you just buy, or is that Dan Pena's castle?
That is Sir Dan Pena, to be correct.
What can you tell us about this castle? You've been there since 84?
Correct.
How many bedrooms? How many square feet? How safe do you feel there?
55,000 square feet.
55,000 square feet. And right now it's just you and your wife living there.
4 dogs and some staff. But it was given by James V of Scotland to Sir John Guthrie in 1468, the land. They got 2 million acres land along with that. When I bought it, it only had 156 acres left. And so
Were you in the market for a castle? Or
no, I was in the market. I wanted to be near the home of golf, and that's very near St. Andrews.
Scotland, yeah.
And so, I thought I was retiring in 84, but the guy that I left to be CEO at 40 had a heart attack and dropped dead, and so the shareholders brought me back this time, but 9 years later, the shareholders threw me out. So I've been full circle.
Dan, I don't see any cars, no Rolls Royces. Maybe there's a tiny car park somewhere. I don't know. But
the car park is to the right over the trees. It's a big.
So if it's 55,000 square feet, it's just you and your wife. What room haven't you been to for years?
The game room.
You haven't been to it,
which is up in the tower, which has got modern games that the kids play, a snooker table and stuff like that.
Got it. There you
All
go.
right, twist my arm, Dan. I'll move into the game room. It's fine.
Okay. We love Christmas, and our Christmas merch is officially out. And the hat that we couldn't keep a single one of these. Guys were ordering 50 of these at a time. Rob, can you zoom in on that hat? This hat was such a massive hit last year. We sold 3,000 of them like this. They were gone, okay? And people were buying it as Christmas gifts for others, and then they were sending it to their clients, their friends. It says, Merry Christmas, future looks bright on the bottom and on the side with the VT logo. It's just a sick hat. We got a few hats. One of the hats sold out. This one that says Merry Christ Christmas.
Nice.
This one sold out. This one's gone. But you have the red one. You have the green one to choose from. And then that one as well, Rob. You have this one. This other one we have as well. If you want to go to this one, Rob, this Christmas on the bottom right. Yeah. Right there. And then we have the Christmas. If you want to go and show Vinny, our model. Folks, look at our models wearing their, and these come with a nice, look at this. Look at this. This is the
Santa.
That's the pajamas, right? The Merry Christmas pajamas,
so
the ugly
comfortable.
sweater, future looks bright.
They're so comfortable.
Super, super comfortable. Forget about the socks Vinny's wearing that made it in there. Those socks don't come with it.
No.
But they're modeling. They look like a beautiful family. So if you want your whole family to be wearing the pajamas, the Merry Christmas. We also got these sweaters here as well.
Max's
the
truck
ugly
is in
sweater.
there.
This is sick.
Look at that.
Go to vtmerch.com, place your order. And we decided for everybody that does it, we just ordered a few thousand of these. You're going to get the Valuetainment Merry Christmas ornament that we're going to give to you. End of Valuetainment Future Looks Bright, Santa Claus, Merry Christmas. With any order you place, go to vtmerch.com, place your order, and guess what? Kamala Harris doesn't want you to say Merry Christmas.
Yep.
And we don't mind saying it, okay? We don't mind saying it at all. Merry Christmas to you. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.